So folks, we do have a little bit of a line, I think, to get in, so we're going to pause a few moments to make sure folks have a chance to come. All right, we will call to order the June 2nd meeting of City Council. If you are able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll now pause for a moment of silence. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker.
Here.
Councilmember Bullock.
Here.
Councilmember Evans.
Here.
Councilmember Keppel.
Here.
Councilmember Marks.
Here.
Councilmember Steiner.
Here.
Councilmember Streebig. Reading and disposal of the minutes of the regular meeting of council held May 19, 2025.
Move to approve without the necessity of a reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. And that motion passes. Without objection, I'd like to move items 3 through 9 to the top of the docket. All right.
Item 3, communication from Mayor George, President Keppel, and Councilmember Streebig regarding LGBTQ+ Pride Month 2025.
Mayor George, would you like to take this, or would you?
Dear members of council,
Celebrating Pride Month raises awareness and provides support and advocacy for the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer LGBTQ+ community, and is an opportunity to become educated, engage in dialogue, strengthen alliances, and build understanding. While there have been remarkable progress towards acceptance and equality, members of the LGBTQ+ community continue to face discrimination, intolerance, and hate. By protecting the rights of every individual, we enhance and strengthen the value of everyone throughout our entire society. We affirm our support for LGBTQ+ residents in our community and stand with them to protect their civil rights and their ability to live openly, equally, and without fear. Therefore, we are submitting for your consideration this resolution that the City of Lakewood recognizes and supports the month of June 2025 as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer Pride Month, and we urge all residents to celebrate and build a culture of inclusiveness and acceptance this month and every month. Thank you.
Thank you. First move to receive and file the communication.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Councilmember Strubig.
Thank you, President Keppel. Thank you, Mayor George, for again bringing the Pride Resolution to City Council. Your support is unequaled in our area, and you continue to set the example of how an ally in the mayor's office should act. Our guests and listeners from the Cleveland Stonewall Democrats could say more of the political promises that we hear during campaign season, but you are actually delivering by showing your support. We thank you. I'm pleased to join Mayor George and President Keppel on this communication to recognize and lift my family that has been targeted by bullies to dehumanize, slander, and assault us while we try to live our dreams in peace. At a time when cowards are retreating from their values, Lakewood stands tall with Salt Lake City, Utah, Boise, Idaho, and our own courageous neighbors in Northeast Ohio and around the state to fly the Pride flag over City Hall this month. Thank you. I'd also like to thank the Harding Middle School Pride Club on break for the summer for again accepting this Pride resolution for their school club. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just add, I think, let's see if I see him. No, former President O'Malley was maybe going to be here tonight, but he would always note that, you know, we sort of here in Lakewood take for granted almost. This has become an annual tradition of flying the Pride flag and recognizing Pride here in Lakewood, but it wasn't always that way. And there was a time in Lakewood's history when this was very controversial, and we see in other cities that still to this day will not pass a resolution supporting Pride Month or have the courage to support our LGBTQ neighbors. So very proud to continue this tradition, and we stand on the shoulders of other elected officials who've come before us, one of whom we're going to be recognizing shortly after this. So if you're here for this resolution, stick around because you're not going to want to miss Senator Antonio's recognition, as well as former President O'Malley and Councilmember Strubig. You know, it's important to have that representation as we celebrate Pride. So thank you for your leadership on this, Councilperson Strubig, and Mayor George for partnering on it again. So thank you. Any further discussion? Now Councilwoman Hamilton Steiner. Thank you. Well said. Other comments, discussion? No? All right. Hearing none on the motion to receive and file the communication, all those in favor? Aye. And that motion passes.
Item 4, Resolution 2025-27, a resolution recognizing June 2025 as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer Questioning Plus Month.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? We do have a number of folks signed in to speak on this. When I call your name, you can come up to the microphone. If it's red, push the button so it's green. You'll have up to 5 minutes. If you say your name and if you're comfortable, your address for the record, and address the chair. You'll want to avoid personalities, which means not calling out any of us with uncivil words. Okay, so first up is Matt Brown. Welcome back, Matt.
Working, nice. Okay, so first of all, Ms. Keppel, we've been in communication about specifically a trans sanctuary city resolution. Regarding this resolution, I want to say thank you on behalf of all City Council for continuing to recognize Pride Month. This is really important, especially now given the landscape in the whole country and unfortunately also in Ohio. One of the ways in which I believe that we can have resistance is specifically when it comes to combating the attacks against the transgender community. This is a community that is very small and facing a disproportionate amount of attacks from government, state government, federal government, and even local governments. So I'm coming here to ask that we look at that resolution with urgency, because as we are having these conversations, and these conversations are important about strategy and how we move forward, the GOP, the administrations, bring all these legislations down. They're not going to stop and wait for us to act. So the urgency it's now. I don't believe that can be understated enough. And again, thank you for the work that you've already done so far. I really look forward to making the resolution happen ASAP. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up is Ashley L.
Hello, my name is Ashley. I've been a Lakewood resident for 5 years. I'm here today on behalf of Cleveland DSA and as a member of the LGBTQ community to ask you to protect your trans residents here in Lakewood by introducing the Sanctuary City resolution that was brought forth to you at the next council meeting on June 16th. Trans rights are under attack all throughout the nation, which I believe increases the urgency of this matter. Trans people deserve to feel safe, so why not start here in Lakewood? Additionally, as a council member mentioned earlier, we wouldn't be here celebrating Pride Month without the Stonewall riots. Those riots were led by trans women of color. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Pramalika Reddy?
Hi, I'm Prahalika Reddy. I'm a member of DSA, and I've been a Lakewood resident for over 3 years now. Thank you so much for passing the Pride resolution and supporting the LGBTQIA+ community. As you're aware, the trans rights are under attack currently in this country. So I'm here to ask you to introduce the trans resolution that we have put forth in front of you at the next City Council meeting and hopefully pass that. Thank you.
Next is John Papao.
Hello again. For once, I didn't write anything down because I kind of felt like this is kind of a no-brainer. I do agree with Matt when it comes to making sure that we do protect trans rights here in Lakewood. Myself, as a straight, cisgendered white guy, I don't have anybody going after me. I don't have anybody trying to take away my rights, tell me which bathroom I got to use, and so on and so forth. I told you guys a few months ago about my transgender, little brother, and I don't want to see him in a world where his rights are dictated by hateful a hateful group of people just because he's in a part of a very small minority that does nothing to hurt anybody. So thank you for this resolution. Hopefully we could push for more. Thank you very much.
Next is Ryan Bergstrom.
Hello, my name is Ryan Bergstrom. I'm a resident of Ward 4. I'm here with the Cleveland Democratic Socialists of America. I'm here to thank you for all your support, but also to urge you to, by the next meeting, get the Trans Sanctuary City resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Anastasia Kuriluk. I apologize. Please correct me.
Hello, my name is Anastasia Kurilyuk, and I've been living here for 17 years. 17 years ago, my mother and I made the difficult journey immigrating from Ukraine to America. We were fortunate enough to find a home in Lakewood, and despite the challenges we faced along the way, we found a community that sheltered us and welcomed us with open arms. To this day, I am amazed at how our community has stayed true to ensuring that everyone feels safe and welcome, which is why I asked for a Trans Sanctuary City resolution to be introduced. Some of my closest friends, loved ones, favorite business owners, and colleagues are members of the LGBTQ community. During a time where over 867 anti-LGBTQ bills have been introduced in just this year alone, most of which target trans people, it is crucial that we welcome a sanctuary for those that are most at risk and continue paving the way, and continue proving that we are a city that will welcome and protect everyone. Thank you.
All right, next is Mackenzie Fratto.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie Fredo. I live in Ward 4, and like many before me, I'm here to thank you for passing the Pride Resolution, as well as asking you to introduce the Sanctuary City Resolution at your next meeting. I'll be there if you do, even though it's my birthday. But I just wanted to say, I moved to Lakewood about 3 years ago, and partially because of the values of the city, that you're willing to do this every year, that it's almost a no-brainer for everyone to support the LGBT community. I moved from a city that wasn't very LGBT positive in rural Ohio, and I am constantly thankful every morning I wake up that I live in this city where my friends and family are safe, and I would just love to see us continuing to push for the values that all people in Lakewood hold. So thank you.
Next is Sadie Kay.
Hello, my name is Sadie Kay. I moved to Lakewood almost a year ago now, and I live in Ward 2. And I'm here, like my comrades before me, to thank you for passing this resolution. To reemphasize the points that Mackenzie made, I moved from just a random city in Southwest Ohio, and living in Lakewood has been an amazing experience compared to coming from there, especially seeing pride flags in different businesses I go to and on all the houses that I pass. So in order to increase the respect and welcoming that we have for LGBTQ+ members, I'm going to emphasize the importance of passing the Trans City Sanctuary City resolution in the next meeting. Thank you.
All right, next is Martin Ross.
Hi, good evening. I'm Martin Ross. I live over on Delaware, on the southern half of the city, and I've been a resident of Lakewood for about 20 years now. I'm not originally from here, but I moved here for school, and what kept me here were the values the city holds. Respect for all people, and I'm here with the Cleveland Democratic Socialists of America, but I'm also here just as a resident who cares about respecting the rights of the LGBT community. And that's why I would ask that you pass the trans resolution bill next month, or next meeting. Thank you.
All right, and then Robbie Organ.
What? I'm not talking about bikes? Give it time. Okay, so I would just like to echo my comrades in pushing for a trans sanctuary city resolution. I think it's a pretty damning indictment of our local, state, and federal politics and our discourse that we even have to talk about this. Like, why would we not just respect people, regardless of who they are, who they love, whatever? But, you know, that's where we are, unfortunately. So I would like to point out that what makes Lakewood so great is our diversity, our willingness to accept people, regardless of who they are, what they do, who they love, whatever. So, you know, I understand that you'll probably have to give your bi-weekly educational 3 reads speech today about this resolution, but next council meeting, this should be on the docket, yeah? Cool beans, thank you.
Thanks all. That's everyone who I've signed in to speak on this resolution. Please come on up if you want to speak on this resolution. Yep. And just state your name for the...
Hi, I believe my name might be on another sheet of paper. My name is Sarah Goldwitzer. I'm at 1457 Marlowe Avenue. I am a current Lakewood resident and homeowner. I also grew up in Lakewood. I've lived here nearly all of my life, and something that has always been great about Lakewood is how diverse it is and how much support it has for the LGBT community that resides here. As was mentioned earlier, that has been something that has been present, but it has been growing over time. And as today's agenda shows, there's a lot of great things that council and everyone else in the city is doing. And I'm here to also support the transgender sanction, apologies, the resolution for transgender folks. And yes, that's it. Thanks.
All right, thanks all, and I really appreciate everyone taking their time out to be here. I always say that, but I really do mean it, and particularly on this issue. You know, this is a personal issue for me as a parent of a transgender student, so I absolutely care deeply about this issue. And as I had mentioned to some of the folks who had reached out about this, I would like to set up a meeting, and I just got back into town, so I will be doing that this week, and also with some of our friends from Trans Ohio and some other experts to talk about our approach with this. So it is absolutely on the radar, so thank you for being here, and thank you for being advocates and allies. It's really important now more than ever that we stand together on this issue, so thank you. All right, any further discussion? Councilman Bullock.
Thanks, Madam President. You know, the community has really most eloquently said everything that there is to say. I'm happy to join you and other colleagues in supporting this legislation and other legislation that's coming our way. And again, in Lakewood, we give each other space. We accept differences. We accept everybody. And shouldn't that be the way always? So thank you to the residents also for really stepping up and living your values, living our values, and making it an example for all of us to follow.
Any further discussion on the resolution recognizing Pride Month? Okay. So because we have a number of ceremonial resolutions tonight, what I'm going to suggest, normally what we would do, so here you go, Robbie. Here's my my Civics 101. So normally when we pass a resolution where we would have a ceremonial copy to present, we pass it, We come down, we do a photo, we come back up here, we do the next one, we pass it, we go down and take a photo, we come back here and do the next one. And since we have a number tonight, what I'm going to suggest is that we move through the next few ones, and then we'll come down once and do the series of photos. So, so I'm going to encourage everyone who would like to be in the photo for Pride Month to stick around for the next couple. They are also relevant to supporting the LGBT community. So. All right, with that, on the motion to adopt Resolution 2025-27, all those in favor? Aye. And that motion passes.
Item 5, communication from Councilmember Streebig regarding countywide conversion therapy ban letter.
Councilwoman Streebig.
Dear colleagues, please join me in signing the following letter to County Council President Dale Miller, Vice President Yvonne M. Connell, and County Councilman Robert Schlepper, requesting a ban on conversion therapy in Cuyahoga County. As you know, Lakewood banned this harmful practice in 2018 with little or no public remorse since that time. This initiative to protect the LGBTQ+ community has paved the way for us to celebrate Trans Day of Visibility and Lesbian Visibility Week, and to mourn Trans Day of Remembrance last year. With a greater community profile, our younger citizens are inspired to speak truth to power. The Lakewood Youth Council's recommendation to consider all gender restrooms in Lakewood is a direct result of the progress we can make when barriers are lifted. I would also like to recognize and thank Mayor George for recently signing on to a position statement that encourages all Ohio municipalities to adopt legislation to ban conversion therapy within their jurisdictions. Thank you again, Mayor George. I move that the attached letter be signed by all members of this body. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll second that motion. And thank you, Councilman Streebig, for bringing this forward, and Mayor George also for your support. Any discussion from council colleagues? I'll just add that I was recently talking to Cuyahoga County President Dale Miller, and he mentioned that they had recently received a letter from the federal government suggesting that any DEI efforts might result in loss of funding for transportation projects. So these things that we hear about in the news that we're talking about with these bills, they're hitting us. And now's the time for courage. So proud to stand up and sign on to this, but just wanted to mention that as well, that now is the time for us to show some backbone. So. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, on the motion to attach all council members' signatures, all those in favor? Aye. And that motion passes.
Item 6, communication from Councilmember Streebig to recognize State Senator Nikki J. Antonio.
Councilmember Streebig.
Dear colleagues, for the first time ever, Lakewood City Council recognized Lesbian Visibility Week from April 21st to 27th, 2025. In honor of this week, we celebrated our neighbor, Nikki J. Antonio, and her tireless work advocating for the rights of all people to achieve equity, fairness, and their own version of the American dream. From the City Council in 2005 to the Ohio House of Representatives and Senate, Nikki Antonio now serves as Senate Minority Leader and continues her work of listening, correcting injustices, and lifting others to public service. The list of firsts and awards that she has achieved and received over the year could fill another 10 to 20 to 30 minutes. But we must recognize that she started here first on this dais. This was her first. A lesbian elected to Lakewood City Council, and the full weight of an entire community watching her every move. Could she be successful? Would she do the right thing? Yes. She listened to neighbors, worked to correct oversights, and began lifting others. In recognition of her dedication to our city, county, state, and country, this council adopted legislation on April 21st to honorarily designate Bell Avenue from Detroit to Clifton as Nikki J. Antonio Way. Residents on this portion of Bell Avenue have been notified, and an additional street sign was posted today to help with the help of the Public Works Department. Thank you, council colleagues, for supporting Lesbian Visibility Week and for this special designation to recognize our neighbor, our predecessor, and our state senator, Nikki J. Antonio. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll move to receive and file that communication.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. And for our discussion, I'll kick off by saying it's really something to have Senator Antonio here today. She has been a mentor to me personally, as to many women and members of the LGBTQ community in elected office, encouraging us along the way, encouraging others, building a bench to make sure now as she's in her final year at the state Senate, right? Unfortunately, we'd love to keep you there forever, but it's a good year to do this as well. And I think, I forget which, I think Mackenzie, you said that you'd come on your birthday. Well, today is Senator Antonio's birthday, and she is spending it here with us at council, and it's a milestone birthday. I don't know if she wants me to say which one, but it's an important one. So we are grateful for all the many, many years that Senator Antonio has led the way, provided visibility for both lesbians and the LGBT community. It's been important to show what could be accomplished. She also helped found the Cuyahoga Democratic Women's Caucus, so also a leader for women, and has been a representative with a great deal of honor for our region. So proud to have her here and proud to support this. Other comments from council members? Councilmember Marks.
Thank you. Well, Senator Antonio, I've been watching you up here, I think, in this seat for a long time. I was coming to council meetings back in the 90s, late 90s, and I always admired you because you were fearless in taking a stand for what you believed in. And that's so rare in today's world, especially for a woman. I wish we had more of you in Washington, D.C., for sure. But you have been a mentor for so many of us in all over Lakewood in so many different ways. But I just really acknowledge you and thank you for your commitment to doing the right thing, making sure that everybody is treated fairly and well, and having the courage to be your authentic self. And I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate Jean, because I know without Jean, you couldn't be you. So I just love you both, and thank you both so much for your commitment. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Evans.
Thank you, Chair. Senator Antonio, just thank you for so much that you've done for all of us. Your tireless work on behalf of not just here in Lakewood, but everybody across Ohio. You're an inspiration to so many. So many people look up to you, and it's just well-deserved. So it's just a privilege to join my colleagues in honoring you today. Thank you.
Councilman Bullock.
Thanks, Madam President. Senator, thank you for all your many years of service. Jean, as well. It's been a pleasure working with you for many years, and you work very hard in every layer of the community, whether we're talking about Cuyahoga County or Lakewood or the state Senate, and please keep up the good work for another 18 months or beyond. And let us know always how we can partner and keep working together. Thank you. Congrats.
Okay. Vice President Baker.
Thank you. And Senator Antonio, your accolades speak for themselves, but I've always just seen you as a very accessible neighbor and person in the community. And so every event I go to, you're always there, and you're just so accessible. I drive my kids to Lakewood Park for practice, and you or Jean are out front doing yard work. So you've worked tirelessly for our community, but you're also just a member of our community, and I really appreciate it. And I always talk about public service. I don't see a more noble profession than serving the public, and you certainly dedicate your life to that. So thank you.
Councilwoman Hamilton Steiner.
Thank you, President Keppel. So from one first to another first, thank you for your courage, and thank you for blazing and leading the way, and just giving me someone I can look up to as well. So I look forward to continuing to work with you, and let's make some stuff happen. So.
All right. Any further discussion? All right. Hearing none, Senator Antonio, would you like to say a few words?
Well, thank you. Hey, I'm not often speechless, but I am really struck and very honored, very humbled by this recognition. I drove by and I saw the sign today, and it made me cry. And this is so hard because I want to. Don't you find this an awkward? It's so awkward, isn't it? Because we're talking to them, and I sat up there for 5 years. I was a city council person, but then here you all are, right? And so what I want to say to all of you, thank you so much. What I want to say to all of you, especially those of you who got up and talked about, advocated for what you believed in and what was important to you, thank you so much. This is why I do this work, this is why they do the work, is because we have to have this conversation, right? But at the end of the day, you have to put people in the places to make good policy decisions. And if you don't like the policy decisions you make, there's a way to change that. And the way to change it is to run yourself, right? And so I want you to know that, remember that, think about that, because that's what happened for me. I got elected to city council in 2005. I started serving in 2006. In 2004, what happened in the state of Ohio is that there was a ballot initiative that said marriage is between a man and a woman only. It was trying to get George Bush elected, and it was also trying to block marriage equality. That ballot initiative passed. I got mad. We knew we weren't going to leave the state of Ohio. We were raising our family here. So we had a couple choices. We knew friends that left because they said, first, they come for us and marriage. Second, they come for our children. And so especially the lesbians and the gay folks that we knew that had kids decided to leave. And they went somewhere else where they were welcome. Jean and I made the decision. We were going to stay. We were going to fight. The best way I knew how was to run for office. I ran for office and I won. That was in 2005, 20 years ago. I am so happy I'm here today because you honor me, but because you honor me. You came here and said, yeah, you know, pride. Well, we know that. Yeah, we do that every year. I'm here to tell you, earlier than that, I worked for Mayor Kane. She wanted to fly the pride flag because one of the council people passed it, and she said, okay, we're going to fly the pride flag. We got emails from all over the country telling us how terrible we were for even considering it. That was about 25 years ago. So it's amazing what can happen in a 20-year period, which may seem like a long time to you all. Yes, I just had a milestone birthday. Today is my birthday. I have no problem telling you I just turned 70. I can't believe it, but I will also tell you that 20 years sometimes is like it happens in a blink of an eye. So much can change, so much, that every moment that you decide to fight for what you believe in is incredibly important. There's nothing more important than that. Thank you for giving me, it's interesting, it's Nikki J. Antonio Way. Then I was thinking over here, what is the way? What is that way? This is that way. This is paving a way, always, moving forward, changing things, but also understand the history. A, so we don't repeat the bad stuff, but B, so you understand how we got here. Because how we got here was through a lot of work and a lot of courage. This council is exercising a whole lot of courage right now because we have swung back and forth, right? And so now we're in this point where the federal government is telling us fundamental building blocks of our democracy, we are being told we should abandon them. That diversity, equity, and inclusion are something ugly, terrible, and something we could lose money. If we even embrace them, we have to push back and say, I don't think so. I disagree. And then we have to figure out how to push forward. It's going to take all of us to do that. And so I couldn't be prouder of you, the council. Thanks to Public Works for putting up the sign. The workers here in Lakewood, which I so appreciate. I knew Chief Fisher when he was just a rookie. And look at you now. Mayor, I also want to thank you for your courage and for your, it takes courage even to do the right thing, even to do the right thing. So never discount that or say, well, you know, of course that was the right thing, because it takes a lot of courage to do that. But Bell Avenue, I was thinking about this as well, is this special street. It's a street in Lakewood. We talk a lot. My colleagues in the state legislature are very jealous of my living in the Lakewood bubble. We talk about sometimes. And part of the bubble is because there is acceptance. There is the ability to be one's authentic self. But don't be fooled that that includes every single person. There are still some people who don't quite feel comfortable with what we're talking about today and with the differences. And we have to acknowledge that and continue to work on bringing them in, hopefully, letting them know that you don't lose anything by extending and opening the circle for everyone. We actually all win then. And so on my street, there are pride flags, a lot of them right now. There are American flags. There are transgender flags celebrating trans people on my street. Ramona the cat likes to sit on my porch instead of our neighbors sometimes on our porch. You know, sometimes somebody's dog is loose. There's a family with a transgender child on my street. There's a lesbian family. There's a newly immigrated family on our street. There are seniors. There are people with kids. There's a little bit of everything. And isn't that the best, right? That is so the best. That's what we want to maintain. But I'll leave you with the words. I can't believe that I'm always quoting Benjamin Franklin, but he said, when they asked him at the Constitutional Congress, what do we have? What do we have? What was the decision? And he said, you have a republic if you can keep it. We cannot for a minute think that we can keep this wonderful thing that we have in Lakewood, this wonderful thing there is wonderful things in the state of Ohio. We just have to push the other way right now. And this country without fighting for it and working every day on it. So thank you. Again, you honor me. Thank you for showing me that the way is clear to the future. I appreciate you all, and I appreciate your courage. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Antonio. All right. We have a motion and a second to receive and file the communication. All those in favor? Aye. And that motion passes. So we have 2 more ceremonial resolutions, and then we'll all come down and do pictures. So hang on for a few more minutes, okay? Thanks.
Item 7, report from Councilmember Marks regarding the recent meeting and activities of the Lakewood Animal Safety and Welfare Board.
Councilman Marks.
On May 21st, I was able to attend the Lakewood Animal Safety and Welfare Advisory Board meeting. Unfortunately, the board's longtime chair, Erin Shaughnessy, and her husband, Scott McDonald, are resigning from the board due to their relocation out of Lakewood, which we feel very so sad about. Erin was appointed to LSWAB in 2017 and elected chair in 2019. Scott was appointed to LSWAB in 2020, which is where the two of them met. The following resolution is intended to honor their service. Additionally, the board advocated for another resolution on tonight's docket to recognize Nancy Binder for her commitment, her central role on the board of successful spay and neuter program. Thanks to Nancy's leadership on this initiative, thank you. The board has successfully overseen more than 500 pet fixes, which is a proven strategy to reduce the feral cat population and to improve quality of life for animals and people. The board also discussed Ordinance 20/2025 regarding regulations for a trap neuter return program within the city ordinance 2025 was referred to both the Public Safety Committee and the Board of in the board by council on May 19th. The board had a productive discussion of the ordinance and agreed that it would be able to finalize the recommendation in an upcoming joint meeting with the Public Safety Committee. Thank you. Submit to receive and file.
All right, I'll second the motion to receive and file. Any further discussion on the report? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and that motion passes.
Item 8, Resolution 2025-23, a resolution to recognize and thank Nancy Binder for her inspired commitment to animal welfare within the city of Lakewood, and specifically for her central role in establishing LSWAB's successful spay and neuter program.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion. Do we have folks signed in to speak on this? Do we have any other okay. I don't know. I see some LSWAB folks, so I thought that there may be some folks who wanted to speak, but you're just silently showing support. All right, I'm getting a thumbs up. Okay, great. All right, so we have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. It's exciting to see that the TNR ordinance is moving forward, and we really appreciate Nancy's work on this very important topic. I did try to tie together all of these ceremonial resolutions today by wearing my rainbow cat earrings. So we're getting both the animals and LGBT all together. So that's my transition into these things. So thank you, Nancy, for all of your work. Councilwoman Marks.
Spay and neuter program. Nancy served on LSWAB for many years and has been diligent about her commitment to make this program successful, which takes a tremendous amount of work and coordination, where these animals can be spayed for just spayed and neutered for $10. She arranges the pickup and everything. I mean, it's just a monumental project, and she has done it so well. So I hope she remains on the board much longer, because I'm not sure that anybody else could do it as well. So thank you again, Nancy, for all your hard work, and I look forward to continued working with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. Yep. We'll do council members and then we'll call you up. Vice President Baker.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Councilwoman Marks for bringing this forward. And one of the first people to reach out to me when I was appointed to council was Nancy. And we had coffee, and she brought, I think, scones. They were delightful. But this is what's great about Lakewood. It's about the service of people on our boards and commissions. And Nancy certainly went above and beyond with her service and her tireless advocacy. I mean, you can serve on the board, you can give advice, and you can do the work, and she did both. So we just really thank you for that and honor to support this resolution.
Thank you. Councilman Strubing.
Thank you. When I think about philanthropy, it's natural to think about people giving large amounts of money and putting their names on things. And very seldom do we think about people donating their time. And I wanted to thank you all, Aaron, Scott, and Nancy, for donating your time to this organization, and probably some of your money too, I'm sure, at some point. But thank you for being philanthropists with your time.
Thank you. Any further comments? And we are grateful that Nancy's not leaving. It's bad enough to lose Scott and Aaron, so please don't come up here and tell us you're leaving. All right. Any further discussion? Nancy, did you want to speak? We always love to hear from you. So push the button so it's green. There you go.
Face ID. First of all, Mayor George, we couldn't do this project without your approval, so thank you very much. The cats we spayed and neutered were residents' cats. I never asked, were they indoor, outdoor? Were they not? I do know we saved a lot of kittens from being born. The people who came, it's important for the kittens, but the people who came for the low-cost spay and neutering always had a heartfelt story. One woman called me 2 days before, and it was $10 for us, and there's a required rabies shot for the state of Ohio. And she said she had to cancel because she could only save $14. And it meant the world to her. Of course, she got the whole package. But we have citizens who want to do things for their babies. And a lot of people, this is their child, this is their support. One young man came, he was very shy, he was very nervous, and he said, "This is the only person that loves me, and I can do something for her." He made me cry. Not in front of him, but he made me cry. There are so many people that appreciated it. A little older than me couple, and we're not going how old that is, but they came with their 2 cats on the bus, and they walked down, through Lakewood Park with their little crates. They were so cute. They couldn't wait to get it done because they always felt it was better for their cats, and they want to take care of everything. When they were offered a ride home, they go, "No, we just take buses. We don't take cars." And off they went with their little cats. One woman was just so afraid to come into the park. I have no idea why, but she was afraid to be in that open space. But she loved her 2 cats enough to do it. She came, she was there. Programs like this, the feedback I got was, this is why we love Lakewood. This is why we love being here. A couple of cities called and said, "How are you doing this?" And I said, "We've got a great council and mayor. That's how we're doing it." It's a unique program for the cities, and I want to thank Council and Mayor George for it. And Council Marks has been really supportive of this. I'd like to name all the people who do come at 7 in the morning to help do the check-in real quick. And if you're here, would you stand up? Because you deserve as much adulation as they're giving me right now. First is Jean Bjorn, Emily Cresescu, Juniper Cresescu, who you won't see because she's 3 and she's coloring. Peggy Demetrak, Phyllis Dykes, Bob Dykes, Kate Coughlin, Megan Galida, Rhonda Logie. Nobody's standing. Come on, guys. Okay. I do want to give Kurt Matage, I hope that's how you say his name, the head of the Parks Department, a big shout out, because of course I'm always running in kind of saying help, and he does, along with Shelby Scherer, who keeps me sane when I'm doing this. She's also a cat lover. Violetta Maurer, she lives in Westlake and comes because Westlake doesn't do such fun things. Erin McDonald, Scott McDonald, Nancy McDonald, Emily Petro, Linda Ross, Julene Russell, Kara Blatch, Tori Warden, and Jeff Warren. Just to let you know the openness, heartedness of the residents of Lakewood. Jeff Warren coordinates the program to give 300 full Christmas and Thanksgiving meals to residents of Lakewood. We have a lot of giving people, and I want to thank all of them. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So on the motion to adopt, all those in favor? Aye, and that motion passes.
Item 9, Resolution 2025-24, a resolution to recognize and thank Aaron Shaughnessy and Scott McDonald for their commitment to animal welfare within the City of Lakewood as longtime volunteer leaders of the Lakewood Animal Safety and Welfare Advisory Board.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Councilwoman Marks?
Thank you, Council President Keppel. Scott and Aaron, I just want to acknowledge you for your dedication and service. The two of you together you're just a remarkable couple. We will miss you in Lakewood, although I know you will continue to participate. But, you know, Aaron, you have been a stalwart supporter of the animals while you've been on LSWAP board, and it's been for many years. We will miss you terribly, but I'm excited about your new adventure because you have a barn and you could have lots of animals, so go for it. But we'll miss you. Thank you so much for your commitment to LSWAB and to the Lakewood community. We'll miss you terribly.
Thank you. Other council members? Councilman Bullock?
Thanks, Madam President. So first of all, I happen to know Aaron and Scott personally, and also in your role in this formal service. And thank you for the skill and the hard work and the part of doing this well is putting together meeting minutes and coordinating an agenda and talking to human beings who sometimes resemble herding cats, and you do those things, and because of that, that then allows the group of volunteers to then help the animals. And I didn't speak for Nancy, but Nancy, since 2011, that's a long term of service, and you continue. So thank you also for that. In kind of a theme continuous with what we said about honoring and recognizing LGBTQIA residents, if it weren't for the residents, we wouldn't be improving our community in the way that we are doing. And in the case of Lakewood Animal Safety and Welfare Advisory Board, it's adding humane practices. It's making our community more compassionate and recognizing what you said, which is that animals are members of the family for many of our homes and our families. I think that's wonderful. And if it weren't for you giving a darn and the city following your lead, we'd be a less rich community. So truly thank you. So Aaron and Scott, I didn't know that you were moving on. Congratulations. I hope you're not moving on so extensively that we won't see you. But thank you again for your service.
Further discussion? I'll just add the times that I have interacted with both Aaron and Scott with the board. I've been incredibly impressed by your professionalism and dedication, and you'll very much be missed. When it was announced at a previous meeting that you were leaving, I think my jaw like hit the table. So we're really sorry to lose you, but good luck in your future endeavors. And I know you'll still be actively working for animal safety and welfare, no matter where you are. So thank you for your service. All right, on the motion to adopt, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye, and that motion passes. Okay, we are finally at picture time. So let's just do these in order. So the first one we'll do the LGBTQ Pride Month. So anyone who would like to join us up front for a picture for that, we will do that, and then we'll work our way through. All right, back to the top.
Item 1, Ordinance 18, 2025, an ordinance to take effect immediately to amend Chapter 1775 Weeds of the Codified Ordinances for the purpose of establishing regulations for front yard planting.
That's item 1? Am I in the wrong? That's 15. Okay, all right, so it's, okay. Oh, sorry. All right, so we will, there we go. We'll move to defer.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? For the few folks left, we're deferring because this has already been referred to committee where it will be discussed in more detail, and then it'll come back to us, presumably for a vote. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none. On the motion to defer, all those in favor? Aye, and that motion passes.
Item 2, Ordinance 20, 2025, an ordinance to take effect immediately, updating various sections of Chapter 505 Animals and Fowl of the Lakewood Codified Ordinances and creating regulations for trap, neuter, spay, and release of community cats within the city of Lakewood.
Move to defer.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? As we heard from Councilwoman Marks's report, the Lakewood Animal Safety and Welfare Advisory Board has looked at this, and then there'll be a joint meeting with Public Safety to finalize this, hopefully. So it's in committee right now. Any further discussion? Hearing none. On the motion to defer, all those in favor? Aye, and that motion passes.
Item 10, communication from President Keppel announcing August recess.
Dear colleagues, this communication serves to propose a recess from Council's regular meetings for the month of August. Barring extenuating circumstances, I encourage committee chairs to also refrain from scheduling committee meetings during the month of August. An August recess has been part of Council's customary schedule over the years, and one that I believe results in members, directors, and staff returning to Council chambers refreshed and refocused on our legislative work together. In accordance with Lakewood Codified Ordinances 121.03C, I intend to call a vote on the question of recessing from the August 4th, 2025 and August 18th, 2025 regular meetings of Council. Move to receive and file that communication.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Council will, however, be out in the community this summer, so you'll find us at our community conversations that we announced last meeting, and we'll continue to promote those. So this is sort of our opportunity to move away from our formal council meetings and out into the community. All right, on the motion to receive and file the communication, all those in favor? Aye, and that motion passes. And then I will move that council recess for the August 4th and August 12th meetings.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? What did I say? Is that the right? That's not 18th?
August 4th and 18th, yeah.
Okay. August 4th and 18th. Amend that motion.
Second.
Okay. Sorry, it cut off on my sheet, so I was guessing. All right, I didn't add that right. All right, so motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye, and that motion passes.
Item 11, report from Councilmember Evans regarding the recent meetings and activities of the Tree Education and Advisory Board.
Councilmember Evans.
Thank you, Madam President. Dear colleagues, the Lakewood Tree Advisory and Education Board met on Wednesday, May 14th, to discuss the recent tree giveaway, among other topics. This year's tree giveaway was another great success, with almost all trees finding homes. Due to interest in smaller ornamental trees, future giveaways will shift focus from very large shade trees to these smaller trees to match product to demand. The names and addresses of all those who claim trees have been filed for mapping purposes. The fall tree giveaway will take place in early October, once again offering 200 trees, and we'll get more details to the community as that comes closer. After years of partnership, the board is moving away from the tree contest, co-sponsored by the Lakewood Observer. Declining interest in the project has led the board to concentrate its efforts on the concept of an arboretum city as a more impactful way to raise awareness of the importance of trees in our community. The board thanks the Observer for its partnership. The Forestry Division has been diligently working through spring tree planting and also hazardous tree removal. Now that it's June, the division welcomes new seasonal workers who will be helping with watering those new trees. Finally, the board is reviewing existing documents the city currently distributes to residents regarding trees and tree care, with the goal of updating and expanding content as necessary. The board is also exploring ways to partner with the staff at Cove Community Center to offer tree-related educational programming on site. Thank you, and I'll move to receive and file this communication.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion. Thank you, Councilmember Effens, for that report. It's good to keep up with the great work that they're doing on the board, and appreciate it. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
And that motion passes.
Item 12, report from Councilmember Baker regarding the May meeting of the Lakewood Alive Board of Directors.
Vice President Baker.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, the Lakewood Live Board of Directors met on May 21st, 2025 at the Lakewood Public Library for its bi-monthly meeting. The meeting started with an excellent news that Lakewood Alive obtained a $50,000 grant from the Jack Joseph and Morton Mandel Foundation for supporting seniors in Lakewood. The grant builds upon Executive Director Ian Andrews' participation in the Mandel Foundation CDC Leadership Program. There was also an update about Lakewood Alive's recent strategic planning process, and the process kicked off in April and continues throughout this year. Gerald McAllister, former board president, facilitated an activity with the board of directors about the mission and vision of Lakewood Alive. Council members looking to get more involved with and support Lakewood Alive can attend an event or talk with me about joining a committee or participating in a volunteer project. For a full list, please go to their website or subscribe to their newsletter. Of note, the Front Porch Concert Series starts on Fridays in June and July 19th is the date for Summer Meltdown. Sincerely, Councilman Baker. Motion to receive and file this communication.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion. Thank you, Vice President Baker, for keeping us informed. Councilwoman Hamilton Steiner.
I was going to say June 14th, I believe, is their Birdtown picnic as well. So that's also, I believe it starts at noon.
Okay. I believe that's correct. And always a good event also. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
And that motion passes.
Item 13, communication from Councilmember Baker and Mayor George regarding resolution seeking to enact a smoke shop moratorium in the city of Lakewood.
Vice President Baker?
Thank you. Dear colleagues, we are ready to formally introduce the following resolution seeking to impose a moratorium on the issuance of or processing of permits for smoke shops within the city of Lakewood. The moratorium defines smoke shops as any retail establishment which 20% or more for the floor, shelf, or display areas are used for the sale of smoke shop products, which are further defined in the moratorium. The moratorium seeks to be in effect until December 30th, 2025, or until changes to the zoning code are made, whichever is earlier, and is essential for providing the administration and council with necessary time to review and possibly revise zoning regulations as they pertain to smoke shops. The current provision of the zoning code does not sufficiently address both the actual and potential impacts of smoke shops in terms of access, building quality and aesthetics, lights and noise control, available and appropriate locations, use, saturation, and environment. It's crucial to note that no state licensed medical or adult use marijuana dispensaries are considered a smoke shop under the stipulations of the moratorium. We ask that the moratorium be adopted tonight if acceptable or referred to a committee of council's choosing for more discussion. The moratorium simply seeks to preserve the status quo while this issue is further considered with the benefit of more time. Motion to receive and file the communication.
Second. Any further discussion? Yep, Councilman Marks.
I want to thank Councilman Baker and the mayor for bringing this forward. There's just been a plethora of smoke shops opening up, so thank you very much for taking the initiative to make this happen. I'm in full support.
Thank you. Yes, this is something we've been talking about, and it feels like of late they've just been multiplying like rabbits, and we've been getting a lot of rabbits also. So, any further discussion? All right. On the motion to receive and file the communication, all those in favor?
Aye.
And that motion passes.
Item 14, Resolution 2025-25, a resolution to take effect immediately imposing a moratorium on the issuance or processing of permits for smoke shops in the city of Lakewood.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Councilman Bullock.
Thanks, Madam President. Thanks, Madam President. And thank you to Councilman Baker and Mayor George for bringing this forward. I'm very inclined to support this and agree with Councilwoman Marks and yourself that, there's a lot of vape shops that have appeared all over our community. And I do wonder if that's the highest and best use of our retail storefronts, plus the public health impacts on essentially inducing and encouraging, use of vaping. But could we get a little bit of context if we're going to potentially vote tonight on first reading, the zoning background, and the previous communication said we asked that the moratorium be adopted tonight if acceptable, to preserve the status quo while the issue is further considered. So is there more context that this is the first time hearing about it tonight, and very receptive, just appreciate any further background. Thanks.
Vice President Baker.
Yeah, and I mean, I welcome, obviously, for those listening at home or those in the audience, council members more than, two of us can't get together, or three. So, it's something that I have been noticing. My wife has been noticing, and I brought it up with the administration, and the mayor agreed. I think it relates to a bunch of things that we're working on with our zoning refresh. So it's signage, it's saturation and use, as we talk about in the communication and in the resolution, and it's making sure that we can just be thoughtful about our zoning code and how we want our commercial corridors to look and what uses we think are highest and best. So it simply seeks to pause to give us time to further consider those things. That said, if we want to refer this to committee and talk about it more, we can do that. I would also be willing, this is also a resolution that could be taken back if we decide later that we want to rescind it earlier than December 31st of 2025. So it's simply a stopgap measure to allow more time for further consideration. Welcome my colleagues' thoughts on that point, though.
I'll just, I'll add too that when we did the moratorium on the adult use cannabis, we were waiting until the state regulations came out for that purpose. And so sort of similarly here is we're pausing while we are doing the zoning refresh. And it also does not harm any existing business. So that's kind of a plus here is that we're just pausing any new ones going in, but as a small business owner myself, I would not want someone undoing my business that I just started, so this would not be putting any sort of barrier to an existing business. Council members, Member Hamilton Steiner. Director Byington, do you have information on that?
Through you, President Keppel. Not that I'm aware of. That doesn't mean that there is something an application that came in that I'm not aware of, but I'd be happy to check tomorrow morning and get back to you on
that. Council members, Councilman Bullock.
Thanks, Madam President. Thanks for the explanation. Good question from my colleague. I'm happy to vote tonight on it. I take the point that we could always come back and lift moratorium. The proposed language says moratorium shall be in effect from the effective date through December 31, 2025, or until such changes are made. And
the earlier of those two.
The earlier of those two. And the Council Vice President answered one of my questions was what more time for what, and the answer to the what is the ongoing zoning code rewrite or process of a refresh and a rewrite. So that answers that question. And I'm reading the definition of smoke shop products in the language, which is available on the docket. But can you provide just some background on how these definitions were selected for the draft before us? Is this borrowing from state code or industry defined, or maybe it's just Lakewood code?
Yeah, I'd have to defer to the law department on that. They drafted it. I would guess the city of Cleveland, I think, had a similar moratorium recently.
Thank you. Through the council president,
Ms. Swallow was responsible for this drafting. So I can tell you that she incorporated the best language she could find from various jurisdictions. And this language is used in multiple jurisdictions, and it was her judgment that it made sense. It was the most descriptive language to her. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Vargo. So I'm comfortable passing this tonight. As we mentioned, we can always come back and lift it if need be, if we're ready to do so sooner. But I'm open to hearing if any other council members feel differently. All right. Any further discussion? All right. On the motion to adopt, all those in favor?
Aye.
And that motion passes.
Item 15, communication from Public Works Director Gordon regarding CSO 52 storage facility project.
Dr. Gordon.
Thank you. Dear President Keppel and members of City Council, the above referenced project entails the construction of a 2.1 million gallon sewer overflow storage tank adjacent to the Lakewood wastewater treatment plant and modification to the existing CSO 052 overflow. The project is necessary per the City of Lakewood's wastewater treatment plant NPDES permit and the partial consent decree agreement. The attached resolution is required in order to move forward with the project's funding. The city has secured funding through the Water Pollution Control Loan Fund, WPCLF. The $39 million project, bless you, is expected to be funded as follows. I certainly won't read all of that. I request that City Council approve and pass the attached legislation so that the project may proceed with WPCLF application funding as soon as possible. Please let me know if you have any further questions. So again, I just want to let council aware that pretty much every single time I bring something that I'm asking to be passed on first reading such as this, we are tied into a very tight deadline, unfortunately. We usually get a response back about our application, and then it's a very tight time frame to turn around, get it passed by council, and apply all very quickly. And in today's world, you want to jump on this as quickly as possible, just so everybody knows.
Thank you.
I can take any questions.
Thank you. I'll first move to receive and file the communication.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion. I know there was some email communication in advance of this, which I appreciate folks getting those questions in. Colleagues, discussion? Councilman Bullock.
Thanks, Madam President. Really, for the record, Director Mahoney and the mayor and Director Gordon provided City Council a little bit of background and context to this project. So really just want to articulate that for the record. So firstly, what's before us tonight on a first round, a request for adoption on first reading. We do this from time to time, so it's not unheard of. The price tag for this one is quite large because it's a major sewer and water investment that is called for as part of our multi-year, multi-decade really, sewer and wastewater improvement plan. These days that is now under federal law, mandatory compliance due to a consent decree. This project was something that we've approved. We heard about it and approved of as part of the 2025 city budget. We would have discussed it last fall, but it's always good to get a refresher. Maybe my request to the finance director would be just the affordability plan for us paying off a capital project of this price tag, which is in the tens of millions. I do want to acknowledge before that it's good work by the city to get additional funding to defray the cost, and I think we owe some thanks to our Congresswoman Chantel Brown for getting close to $1 million of additional assistance, and that savings will accrue to the residents, and that's always helpful. So essentially what we're doing is on council is being asked to facilitate the timely acceptance of other funds and lower the the cost to our residents. So that all seems quite reasonable to me. But with your permission, Madam President, if the Finance Director could share a little further.
Yes, and I had also asked Director Mahoney, and maybe that's too many questions to throw at you once, so we can break them down, but also about just the terms of the loan and how that would compare if we had to add it to the debt load.
Yes, thank you. So we have REF tell us they calculate our sewer and water rates, and they have calculated through 2028. They had this in their calculation, so we'll probably be looking at sewer and water rates again in a year or so, but it's calculated in what the residents are unfortunately paying these high rates for to accomplish these projects. I think that was the major question. If I'm missing anything, it'll be over 30 years to pay back, and it's a very low interest, so thankfully that won't cause extra interest costs over these years. So.
Thank you. And by doing this through this loan versus adding to the debt load, we reduce the amount of debt that we would have to take on, which helps with our debt rating. Was that accurate?
That's correct, yes.
Thank you. Director Gordon.
And also, just so council is aware, we did apply for a OPWC grant or loan as well. And obviously, we're contingent, and that's to be determined in July of 2025. So credit to everybody involved, Director Mahoney, City Engineer Mark Papke, all of us that are working hard to try to find alternative measures to afford these very expensive projects. So it certainly does not go unnoticed.
Thank you. Yes, these are large projects, so we appreciate everyone's heavy lifting on them. All right, any further discussion or questions? All right, we're still on the communication, so on the motion to receive and file the communication, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and that motion passes.
Item 16, Resolution 2025-26, a resolution to take effect immediately, authorizing the mayor, director of public works, finance director, law director, or city engineer to apply for, accept, and enter into a water pollution control loan fund agreement on behalf of the city for construction of the combined sewer overflow CSO 52 storage facility project and designating a dedicated repayment source for the loan.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? And again, just thanks Director Gordon, Engineer Papke, Director Mahoney, and all involved on finding affordable ways to finance these projects. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, on the motion to adopt, all those in favor? Aye, and that motion passes.
Item 17, communication from Planning Director Byington and Development Officer Wyman regarding the fiscal year 25 to fiscal year 29 HUD 5-year consolidated plan resolution.
Director Byington, or is this, I see Dan. Okay, go ahead, Director
Thank you.
Byington.
Dear Council President Keppel and members of City Council, attached for your consideration is the Department of Planning and Development's HUD fiscal year 25 through 29 consolidated plan resolution. Every 5 years, as a condition of receiving federal CDBG, ESG, and home funds directly from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, the City of Lakewood submits a consolidated plan. The regionally focused consolidated plan, jointly developed and submitted with the county's Cuyahoga Housing Consortium partners, Cleveland Heights, Parma, Euclid, and Cuyahoga County, fully incorporates Lakewood's locally focused fiscal year 25 annual action plan, which was already approved by the City Council via Resolution 2024-69, which describes the city's strategic plan for utilizing federal resources to address high-priority housing, homelessness, and community development needs. On June 9th, 2025, draft versions of the consortium's FY 25 through 29 consolidated plan and Lakewood's FY 25 annual action plan will be provided to City Council and made available to Lakewood residents during a mandatory 30-day public review period, which is from June 9th to July 8th, after which they will be submitted to HUD. Additionally, it should be noted that the CAC will conduct 2 public hearings in addition to the normal 3-reading process through Council. Thank you.
Thank you. So with the resolution that follows this, since we wouldn't take action on it until the conclusion of that public comment period on July 8th, we could go ahead and refer it to committee now and then just have it waiting there so that we can act quickly. Is that okay? So I would think maybe housing planning and development. Would you like the communication as well? Okay. So I will move to refer the communication to housing planning and development.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion. Councilman Bullock.
Thanks, Madam President. So the process to develop a draft plan and then take public comment on it, and we've got a strong one, and all of us, I know, appoint members of our neighborhoods and community to the Citizens Advisory Commission. It's a very thoughtful one. I think it's worth our review on council. Some, as I understand it over the years, maybe a good 80% of the plan really is almost Census Bureau analysis. That's kind of my shorthand. It's going to be the city doing research on our neighborhoods, on our business corridors, on our population, and reporting in the framework that the federal government requires. But that's all useful insights that is yielded to us. And then there's some discretion about how we might, for the next 5 years as a community, invest or develop a strategy to work on one of the measures involved, whether that's a housing or some other. So the long way of saying, I think it's worth taking some time for all of us to review it and to prompt Professor Wyman to come and with a laser pointer, but also the citizen group that you work with and do a nice job of getting community representation insights into it. So that'd be my sentiment, but it's not my committee that we're considering referring this to. Thanks.
Thank you. Other comments from council members? Discussion? All right, hearing none on the motion to refer the communication to housing planning and development. All those in favor? Aye. And that motion passes.
Item 18, Resolution 2025-28, a resolution to take effect immediately, authorizing and directing the mayor to submit Lakewood's fiscal year 25 to fiscal year 29 5-year consolidated plan, as approved by the Citizens Advisory Committee, to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, which includes dollar allocations and activities to be funded with federal CDBG, ESG, and Home Investment Partnership Program resources during the above-mentioned 5-year period, and incorporates the city's fiscal year 25 annual action plan, which serves as the city's application to HUD for fiscal year 2025 CDBG, ESG, and home funds.
Move to refer to housing planning and development.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that motion passes.
Item 19, communication from Mayor George regarding appointment to the Lakewood Animal Safety and Welfare Advisory Board.
Mayor George.
Members of council, with the recent departure of Erin McDonald from LASWAB, there is a need to make an appointment to serve the remainder of her term. I am pleased to announce my appointment of Stacy Zigman to fill this role. Stacy's appointment will begin immediately through December 2026. We are thankful for Stacy's dedication to our community and passion for public service. Thank you.
Move to receive and file.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. And that motion passes.
Item 20, liquor permit notice regarding Sauce Pub and Pizzeria.
I believe we received the report on this earlier today, so thank you, Director Vargo. Unless you have further comment.
No, just thank you, Madam President. Just a brief recap. This restaurant is owned by an LLC. There were originally 2 members. 2024, 1 member bought the other member out, which required the application to the state for this change. That's the only item. That's the only thing going on here. There's no change to operation, and the law department sees no statutory basis for objection. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Councilmember Evans?
No objection.
All right, we'll move to file without objection.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Thanks to the police department for the report also. All right.
Sorry it was late.
No, that's all right. All right, this is an easy one. All right, so any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. And that motion passes. All right, we have come to public comment. And first is, same rules. When you come up, you'll have up to 5 minutes. You'll address the chair, that's me. And the light should be green when you speak. If not, push the button, say your name and address for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes. All right, first is Daniel McGraw.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
There you go.
There we go. Well, yes, my name's Daniel McGraw. I live at 12201 Madison Avenue. It was very ironic that you were talking about smoke shops and signage, because that's why I'm here, and I had no idea that you were putting a moratorium on it. I live across the street from Smoke Chasers, Chaserz, Chasers, no, Cloud Chasers Smoke Shop. At the time, and they're about, from my bedroom window, they're about 25 yards. So they're straight across Madison Avenue. At the time they opened a few months ago, they had a very bright sign on their building shining into my bedroom every night. I went across the street and I said, I think you're sort of leaving your light on, and maybe you want to turn it off at the time your business is closed, because you can, save on your electric bill. He said no. He said it was approved by the Lakewood Planning Department, and that he's able to do it, and he suggested that I buy heavy drapes for my windows to keep the light out. So you had mentioned how you're going to put a moratorium on smoke shops, and just as a side, I had some friends in earlier from Austin, Texas, and their comment on driving through Lakewood is that you have a lot of coffee shops and vape shops, and that's all that he noticed. Anyway, kind of what I want to talk to the planning department is there a policy against having signage on retail that's shining into residences' windows at 4 a.m.? Is that a policy? Yes, no?
Well, so during public comment, we don't usually do question
okay.
answer, but I'll be happy to. There are building code standards, and I'm looking at Director Gordon, sorry, just because, I'm sorry, Director Gordon, to put you on the spot, but there are building code standards, and actually this is something that we've been discussing too in terms of how bright
No, but
lights
I'm
are.
asking about the current, because I doubt if across from the Fedor Manor, if sort of Citizens Bank wanted to put a big light thing and have it on at 4 a.m., you'd say no. So he told me that he was able to do it. So the reason I'm here is that I've worked in urban planning a long time, and I've gone through your policy, and I'm trying to find where it says from certain times at night, sort of retail shouldn't put it. If it was 100 yards east, it would be across from Graph Tech, and who cares? It's right across from 20 people, and I asked the 20 people in our apartment building if this was bothering them. They said yes. So my question to you, and are you still having council meetings after this one?
Yes. So, well, not tonight.
So my question is this: is there a policy that allows businesses to have pretty big lights on their businesses when it's closed at 4 a.m.? If they were granted an exception, if there was a policy that says you can't do this, if they were granted an exception, sort of did it go before City Council to vote on, or did it go before the Planning Commission? And if it was given an exception, did you notify people who would be affected by the exception?
Again, we don't normally do question answer,
I
just
know,
because,
well-
but in terms of, let me just lay out procedure. So I'm going to
Okay,
do a
yes.
little
I
how
like-
things would normally
I like-
go. So we have there is a citizen board that does sign review. So a new business putting up a sign, if could be administratively approved, or it could, and Director Byington, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to jump in here. So I'm the director of the planning department.
Yes, and it happened just in the past few months, so.
So to start with, I will get your name and number when we leave here, and I will look into the specific case to see if there was an exception for it. We'll also look at the zoning code to see. I don't believe there's anything that would relate to the time unless there was an exception or a conditional use
Well, I understand
permit.
that because there's sort of non-residential on Madison, but it goes back to a long time ago about noise, but it has nothing to do with the lights.
But there should be a section that's in regard to not causing a nuisance with the glare from that property to another. So I'll come over here in a minute and get your information
and
follow up.
also, just lastly, I said, there's got to be a wire that goes from the energy source to the light, and why don't you put like a switch on there? And he said that he couldn't do that. He said it would be impossible for him. I'm just asking him to turn his lights off when his business is closed.
Sure. Yeah.
So I can sleep at night.
I understand. Yeah. So we're going to look into the specifics of this specific case. There is a light pollution element into the code too. So without, at this exact moment, I can't give you the specific.
Because I've gone through the administration making calls and everything, and because it's not one of these serious things where you're redoing a street, it's a can that gets kicked down the road. But the reason I'm here, and not more of the people from my apartment building, and they said, who wants to go before council, because those people sort of don't do anything. And like your previous state senator, I want to get involved in this because I like to sleep at night.
Interested. Yeah, appreciate it. And I appreciate you being here. We will absolutely look into this specific instance as well as the code itself. So, yep.
Excuse me.
Yep, Councilwoman Marks.
So, Mr. McGraw, too, as I mentioned to you, I have not talked to you about the light pollution until tonight, but I will definitely look into that. And when a situation like this arises, if you contact me, then I can follow through to make sure something is done so you aren't felt that you're left out. So thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you. And Councilman Marks is the word for it, resident. And that is one of the roles of council, is to help connect you with the services you need. Councilman Bullock.
Thanks, Mr. McGraw. I don't know if you recall, we've interacted over the years a while back. I do remember light pollution standards being updated something like 5 to 8 years ago. The answer to your question is that's implemented when the permit is, there's guidelines that when the permit is granted. And it may be that it's worth revisiting, especially if your residence is on one of the commercial corridors. I think there's stronger protections when it's light pollution to a north, well, it's not termed this way, but to a residential district. So it's a valid point, and also I'm glad to hear that the planning director is pursuing the kind of the chronic nuisance. So it's a valid issue. I do know the city's worked on it, but that doesn't always mean that we've done it completely. So thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on. We have, this may be the other sheet. Sarah Golitzer, did you want to speak again? Or okay, sorry. We found the sheet that you're on. All right, and then Robbie Organ, last but not least, come on up.
Yoo-hoo. Cassie told me to calm down because I am, quote, a lot. So I will just say that thank you, Councilmember Evans, for coming out to Bike Lakewood's talk with Ken Kanabe on bike law. Your presence was noted and appreciated, and I thank you for tolerating my heavy foot stomps in your direction. So I appreciate that. August 4th, that's when the new King of the Hill starts. We need to get this complete streets passed by August 4th so I can stop worrying about, I'll be so stressed out watching King of the Hill, I won't know what to do with myself. Is it going to be done? I don't know, but I'll be here. I'm so excited to talk to you all over the next 2 months. Is it 2 months? June 2nd to August 4th. Wow. About complete streets. I'm so excited to have safe streets. I appreciate that the Public Works Department is painting some some stripes in crosswalks, making them more visible. There's still a lot of work to be done, but appreciate all you're doing. Complete Streets needs to get done. Thank you.
Thank you. And I was also excited to see the high-vis paint going in today. That's really is notable. And I saw some students crossing on it, and yeah, last day of school, and they, it was really, you could tell, like, oh, hey, there's a sidewalk, and there's some kids walking in it. So that was really nice to see. So thank you. Other comments, announcements from council members? Vice President Baker.
Thank you. I'd just like to, there's a ribbon cutting this Friday at Niagara Park at 3 p.m. We just got an email about it today. Invite everyone to come, and I just want to thank the Planning Department, the Public Works Department, and Police Department. I went by both Niagara and Merle Bunce Park a couple times in the past 10 days, and investing in those kind of small neighborhood parks just creates community. I mean, there were seniors eating lunch at the picnic tables, there were grandparents with their grandkids, there were families at each one of the parks. And it just, you know, they're minimal investments as far as our whole city budget goes, but they're really impactful and meaningful. And then also, Patrol Officer Tar stopped by on Friday, did some community policing and came by and talked at the park. So, you know, that's kind of what makes Lakewood great. Small community spaces. We don't have giant yards. We go to our neighborhood park, and then the police officer comes by and says hello to everyone. So I just want to thank Public Works, Planning, and Police for that. So thanks.
Thank you. Announcements from other Councilman Bullock.
Thanks, Madam President. I just want to read a part of a comment that touches on something that other council members have noted already by Lakewood resident Emily Lindbergh. It's an e-comment that we have that I strongly support the addition of high visibility crosswalks that are currently being added to the intersections of Cordova and Detroit and Hilliard and Madison, Woodward and Madison, and several other locations. It's one step in the right direction of making our infrastructure safer for pedestrians. I noticed that too. Thank you to everybody involved in the administration. This resident also urges the administration to continue on this trajectory by placing physical barriers near intersections that would both prevent vehicles from parking in these no parking zones, which minimizes the visibility of pedestrians and shortens the distances that pedestrians must cross. So those are some thoughtful things. I know we talk about this a lot this year. I think it's very welcome, noticed. It's talked about for a reason, and these incremental improvements really are, I think, wonderful and needed and common sense, and will make it all function better. I do also note that the walk to school efforts, the bike and hike to school efforts that the planning department really facilitated in the initial phase, and then parents are working together with the schools, continued throughout the year, and it's been a good experience. The schools are working to expand that when kids come back to school in August into September. So there's some exciting stuff happening, but I think it's kind of like a virtuous cycle. So if the city is doing some things on design and infrastructure and enforcement, as I know we are, and then we're communicating more and more parents are doing it and the schools are facilitating that, then it just builds, and that's a very positive thing for all kinds of different reasons. So thanks. Let's keep at it.
Thank you. Councilwoman Striebeck.
Thank you. I was in attendance at the recent CREC meeting, and I will start giving you all minutes from that, by the way. But I wanted to let everyone know that they do have a board opening on that committee, and if anyone in the community is interested, they should go to their site there and check that out. All right, I'm done.
That was well under 5 minutes. All right, any other announcements from council members? Oh, yeah, Meet the Trucks.
Is it this weekend?
Yeah, it's always the same weekend as Pride, unfortunately, and so you try to be in two places at once is difficult. Okay, but also Meet the Trucks, very exciting. Any other announcements from council members? Announcements from the administration? Oh, well, welcome back, Director
Thank you. Thank you, President Keppel, through you. Just that I wanted to share that typically public service recognition is conducted in early May. We delay it and do it in June after families are done with all of the end of school activities and when the weather's nicer so we can get outside. But we're going to be recognizing our employees the week of June 16th. Appreciate all their dedication and hard work all year long. So we do a few fun things just to let them let loose and be celebrated. So I've shared some emails. So if you're able to attend any of those, please join us. We'd like to have you as well. And we look forward to celebrating our employees that week.
Awesome, thank you. And that's become a great tradition that I appreciate the administration and working on. Certainly worth celebrating our hardworking staff, and the activities have been great. Even though the year I participated in the cornhole tournament was right before my rotator cuff surgery, and it was a little embarrassing, but still fun. So anyway, that's the reason. Yeah, that was totally the reason. Actually, it was Tristan. It was Tristan's fault. All right, he was my partner. All right, so any other announcements? Hearing none, we are adjourned.